Well, if you follow some of the arguments we've heard recently about Heathrow's third runway through to their logical or illogical conclusions, you may think we no longer need an international airport here in our part of the country at all. The Transport Secretary admits expanding Heathrow, and he hopes eventually connecting it to HS2, would put competitive pressure on Birmingham Airport. But who'd argue with expanding Heathrow if it creates 100,000 new jobs?
Linking air and rail puts Birmingham Airport at an advantage over many of its rivals. But managers here want more. In the run-up to last Monday's overwhelming Commons vote for a third Heathrow runway, they put out a statement urging the government to improve surface links around the Midlands rather than focusing narrowly on connectivity to Heathrow. Already, South East England gets vastly more transport investment than anywhere else. The Labour MEP Sean Simon has tweeted that last year in London, £1,943 were spent per head, compared with just £254 here. And a former West Midlands minister was one of 9 local MPs who voted against Heathrow's third runway.
I'm concerned that Birmingham Airport could lose out as a result of this decision, and because I think the government should have shown some imagination, should have used HS2 to link Birmingham Airport to Heathrow. That would have made getting from Heathrow to Birmingham quicker than it is now to get from central London out to Heathrow, and I think that could have been a massive boost for the West Midlands.
Our region's Conservatives voted in favour of it, in the hope that Birmingham Airport can rub along successfully with an expanded Heathrow.
Does he accept to be an open, liberal market economy? We need an airport that can compete against the likes of Paris and Schiphol and Istanbul and Dubai and Doha and others. And on the issue of regions, does he accept that Birmingham Airport also has a part to play over the skies of the UK?
This is absolutely crucial to the United Kingdom as a whole. He's right that probably Birmingham Airport is the most directly affected by this, though of course HS2 arriving at Birmingham Airport will create fantastic connections to that great airport from around the country.
But a previous Transport Secretary, whose constituency just happens to lie below Heathrow's flight path, has written to our local MPs quoting analysis for the Transport Select Committee, which suggests Birmingham could lose 15% of its international flights by 2030 if that third runway goes ahead.
How does it help investment in our regions by suffocating the regional airport's growth?
At least Birmingham Airport is set to have its own high-speed rail interchange. That should feature in the government's aviation strategy due out soon. But the corporate messaging about HS2 spreading London's wealth out to the regions does tend to understate one little-known fact about railways. They go both ways.
All is revealed. And Birmingham Airport have now issued an updated statement for this programme. They say they look forward to seeing the government's commitment to supporting regional airports with existing capacity come to life in that forthcoming aviation strategy. Well, we're also joined here today by Beverly Nielsen. She's the director of Birmingham City University's Institute for Design and Economic Acceleration, and she made expanding Birmingham Airport one of the key themes of her campaign as the Liberal Democrat candidate for West Midlands Mayor in that election last year. Had you been an MP in that vote, Beverly, how would you have voted?
I would have voted against it, against the runway 2 at Heathrow Airport.
You've heard, though, from Secretaries of State past and present that as a result of that runway there is going to be a significant hit, they expect, against Birmingham Airport.
Well, I think that really focusing on regional aviation strategy in the future of our aviation view going forward is really important, because this region obviously is the manufacturing heartland. We've seen a huge growth in exports since 2007, 117% growth in exports. We are contributing the most to exports of any region. So that gateway at Birmingham and also at East Midlands Airport, where there's not only room for growth in passengers, but also it's the #1 dedicated cargo airport in the country, is vital for our region.
So how do you view, most of what we've heard from the government on this talks about regional airports doing very well out of new feeder services in and out of Heathrow as a result of the extra capacity. This, of course, is something that is really not on for Birmingham. It's just too close. So the question is, what kind of role for Birmingham, given the reality, the implications of Heathrow's third
Well,
runway?
don't forget it's 2030 at least by the time we get runway 3 at Heathrow. We've got 12 years to get through in ahead of that, and it's really important for Birmingham that our manufacturers, for the West Midlands, our manufacturers can continue to export easily. There's a really close link between supply lead times and productivity, and also for business travellers, any additional time taken to get to your destination is really critical to productivity as well. So I think there's a very important role still in terms of investing in broader connectivity to Birmingham Airport and of course to East Midlands Airport as well.
Thanks for the moment. I mean, doesn't this Heathrow option really, which you voted for, look like a rejection really of all the ambitions that we've heard from Beverley and the airport itself, which wants to grow the service, long haul as well as short haul business routes, and this is a real opportunity missed for the economy and jobs?
Well, I mean, as you know, Patrick, Beverley and I absolutely stand on the same side of the argument as this. I was happy to vote for Heathrow Airport because we just have got to expand airports. One of the problems, of course, that Birmingham faces is that they're currently running at 13 million passengers a year. With not much change, they could get to 18 million, and with building a new terminal, could get to 36 million. So what's interesting about that is actually the question which is not being answered is why are they not doing better anyway? Now, actually, that's slightly unfair because they've increased it by 4 million in the last 4 or 5 years, so they are doing quite well. But but look, I absolutely maintain that if you were going to build from scratch a hub airport, you should do it at Birmingham. And what's really important about Birmingham expansion is it sends an incredibly clear signal that we are, and the government is supporting our manufacturing heartlands here in the Midlands. Yeah. And that's something which I think is really important.
You've taken long interest in aviation issues. How do you see Birmingham rubbing along with a much expanded Heathrow and HS2, which can go in 2 directions and take passengers from the Midlands to the London airport?
Well, Birmingham's been a very successful regional airport for many years. I mean, I don't actually see it in competition with Heathrow. I mean, Heathrow is our capital city's major airport. It is a major international hub. As was said in that debate in the House of Commons, Heathrow's competitors are not Birmingham, Manchester or Liverpool. They are Amsterdam, Dubai, JFK in New York. I mean, we have to have a major international hub in this country, and Heathrow, well, it's probably in the wrong place, but it's been there so long, it's not going to move. So we've got to see, and I would have voted for expansion had I been still in the House of Commons. So far as Birmingham is concerned, again, I've been around long enough to see Terminal 4 and Terminal 5 arrive at Heathrow. With respect, Beverley, it was said then that these terminals adversely affect Birmingham. It's not happened. And, you know, Justine Greening, I think, who, of course, represents Putney, has a very, very strong environmental lobby against Heathrow. It's convenient for her to produce that evidence about Birmingham,
on that point,
but I'm yet to be convinced.
On the environment, which the Liberal Democrats is one of your hot-button issues, environmental controls, concerns about wherever you have airports, that they're damaging to the air and the rest
there
of it.
are concerns, but we do have the new generation of hub busters coming on stream, the A350s, the Dreamliners. They're going to be much lighter, much fewer emissions, less noise. But I did want to say, just in response to Lord Snape, to Peter, that I really think that we can learn again from Germany here. They have a much more distributed regional
sort of federal
airport,
view, yeah.
a more distributed aviation model. There are at least 5 airports in Germany where you can fly to China. And I think, you know, these direct connections to the high growth markets internationally are going to be really critical for us. So I think we can expand here. We need much more investment by government. Don't forget they're putting 10 billion into Heathrow, and we need to see that here.
It always comes down to government investment, doesn't it? With this aviation strategy coming up, what do you think we can expect from it? I'll challenge you to do it in just a couple of sentences, if you would, Mike.
Well, Andy Street is really keen to make a case that we get more capillary routes going from the centre of Birmingham to Birmingham Airport and to the HS2. So I think there's a lot of stuff we can do around making Birmingham more connected to the rest of the country.
OK, well, not long to wait, apparently, for the moment. Thank you very much. In particular, thanks to you, Beverley, for being with us here today. Well, nearly 3,500 people have signed a petition against the deportation of a popular Sri Lankan cricketer who currently captains Worcester's Old Elizabethans. Hemeka Patharan has been ordered by the Home Office to pack his bags and leave this country within 10 days. It's because he doesn't earn enough money to meet Britain's visa requirements. James Pearson asks if this should really be decided by more than just a person's income.
Coming into bowl for what could be one of his last matches in the UK,